Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This acronym is so impactful, very important for a lot of us in business, even those in the education area, even if you're looking to go to college. STEM, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. There's a lot involved in that. And I have found somebody that can help you along that path. It doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur, you're somebody that works in a business, you have a team that's connected to STEM. You may be a parent with a child, a teen getting ready for college, and STEM is on their mind. She can help you with that. We got a lot to talk about today with Karrin Mayfield Felton on the program. Welcome. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Steve. How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I have kids who are teens, so the STEM thing, it's on my radar, especially my son. Like, he's very much into all of this. He wants to work for the FBI, cybersecurity. Smells like STEM to me.
It is very much so.
So let's talk about, well, you know what? While we're there, let's talk about helping students prepare for STEM careers. How do you do that? How do you help?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me here. I love talking about the subject of STEM. One of the things that I do just naturally is I like people, and I like helping folks identify who they are without a textbook, without a degree, just who they are walking day-to-day living. And so how I help students pursue STEM is by first starting with what interests you. Are you curious? What do you like? What makes you, as I call it, sit up in your seat and bring attention to yourself? What makes you happy? And then from there, I draw touch points to all other things, to include the things that are around us in our environment, in school, that is related to science, technology, engineering, and math. I say it all the time. You can't throw a stick at anything that's not technical, that's not engineering, that's not curated, generated biology. STEM has something to do with all of it. And so I get them interested, and I connect what's interested to them to what is in their natural space. And then we just continue to talk.
So in terms of coaching, let's say you've got a parent and maybe their teen does well, maybe not so much, but STEM obviously is the direction we're going to go in. Let's say it's mathematics. All right, that's the one that interests somebody. Doesn't interest me. I'm going to be fully honest. Never did. Never did. But so important. How do you support somebody like that in that example?
So there's a couple of things that I do real time. So coaching is, to me, rising to the occasion of direction or guidance for a specific issue, a little different than mentoring. So when we talk about particular topics like math, which seems to be that class or subject matter that makes people cringe, we start with the fundamentals. And you first must believe that you are capable of doing hard things like math, like chemistry, like all the stuff, and that you have the capability to understand it. So some of it is understanding how that individual learns and obtains and retains information, starting with what is it that they're interested in terms of the topic, and then building off of that. So coaching in tough subjects, making them understand that it is technical and it is hard, but you can actually understand that. You break it down to the least common denominator, and then you build. It's just like when we were in high school, every subject builds off of the baseline subject. So in the ninth grade, 10th grade builds off of the topics of the ninth grade, and so forth and so on. So it's establishing a foundation and then building off of what they know, and then building off of what they can be trained and taught.
How did this begin for you? Where's the interest in STEM in your career?
Oh my goodness. It began at home. I am the product of educators. So my mother, English professor, just a wordsmith. I mean, my gosh, all the books and things that I was surrounded by at home. Father, basketball coach, very athletically inclined. And the linchpin that connected all of us was that they were educators. And so they actually made it cool for my sisters and I to be curious. And so we asked I asked a lot of questions. I always wanted to know how this worked and how this, and the question begat another question and another question. And so they did not shrink from answering my questions, but they also encouraged me to go find the answers myself. So when we talk about STEM, the fundamentals is just being curious and wanting to know more. And so they made that process for me at an early age such an adventure that by the time I got to high school and had a great teacher in chemistry, and I was like, aha, the lights are coming on. Science became real. She made learning fun and made it real. And I was off to the races. I have to know more. I have to know how that works. And so that's how the STEM spark kind of happened for me.
Wow. And what happened from there? I want to know your journey. Like,
Okay.
Learning about STEM, being interested in it, as a high school student, and then where did that take you?
Well, as I stated before, I had a lot of favorite classes in high school. There were chorus, there were other classes, but chemistry was the one where I was competitive. Like I really wanted to do well. And so because I was good at it and I understood it, and I always had more questions, how does this work? Mixing products together. One assignment was electrolysis. She stuck a penny in a cup of soda. I was just like, whoa, what's happening here? All of that stuff. So I majored in chemistry at Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia, under a full scholarship. And so that just furthered my education in laboratory, giving me that expansive knowledge. I went on to pursue chemical engineering. I wanted to be an engineer. I like tinkering. I like building things. I like knowing how they work. I told you about that curiosity. So if you tell me that this is how it works, I'm going to be like, show me more. Like, open that thing up. Let's see what's on the inside. And so that is an engineer at its core. And so that's how my career started. After graduate school, I went into work for Fortune 500 companies, several of them. And that's when I just honed my craft from process engineering, quality assurance engineering, solving problems, meeting mission, often providing a product, and manufacturing. And then on from engineering and solving problems and creating things to actually working with people. And so my career has grown from that standpoint, starting off with curiosity, and then the aperture opened, and then I was able to contribute to several companies. And the story continues even today.
Wow. Love it. I love your curiosity and your passion to learn. If we could just duplicate that for every kid, every kid's that way.
That would be wonderful.
Oh. So when it comes to STEM jobs, do they all require higher education?
They do not. That is one of the messages that I enjoy telling parents and teachers. Not every child is going to be interested in college, and college is not for every child. If you look at any statistic, just Google it. The where we are today as a country is in the process of making sure that we have a STEM workforce, a skilled STEM workforce. So if you are not interested in pursuing a higher degree, but you are interested in welding, you're interested in being an electrician, or you're interested in more so managing and supervising people, you will need certifications and some courses, but that doesn't mean that you need a 4-year degree to contribute to the STEM space. And continue the work that needs to be done to advance our country in innovation and technology.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel, this is my opinion in our education system, that high schools are many times preparing students for college. Push this. And many times it's to make the school look great, but not everybody is interested in college. There are so many trades, STEM connected, some of them. Even if you look at plumbing, far as I know, we're going to need plumbers till the end of our lifetime. And you may not need that deep, heavy college education for that, but they pay really well. But that's in line, I believe, with what you said, that not all of these jobs require that higher education. Yeah, maybe certification along the way, but maybe not all the time it's college.
Cyber is perfect. You can become a cybersecurity professional in IT. That's not my background, but I know many people in it with a certification, and you can get them out of high school. You can take those classes and get that learning And with your curiosity, let's say you're interested in computers. And that's why I link the interest to the topic or the skill set, because where there's interest, that's what you spend your time doing. And that's where curiosity comes from. It's discovery. And so you have the opportunity to contribute and just be so innovative with companies, with your own company, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit. And not one time did I mention a college degree. Not knocking folks that want to pursue a 4-year or go on to obtain a PhD. We need all of the above. We need it all.
Would you say, in your experience, that curiosity is the key to success?
Yes, that's my mantra for 2024. Be curious. It is not just the key to success. It is the literal bridge that us as humans must cross to know more about anything, to know more about a person, to know more about a situation, asking questions, wanting to step beyond what you may think, beyond what you've been taught, to learn and see a different point of view. You can't get there without curiosity. That's my opinion.
I agree. And I always say I'm a big kid. I'm just a big kid doing life. But by that, I mean, I'm always curious. That's why I love doing what I do and talking to people like you. I'm curious. I want to learn. And what are kids? They're always curious. So
yes, they are. Their own way.
See it. So let's talk about when you work with people that are in these jobs, or an employer that has these types of employees. How do you support these types of companies?
The way that I support these companies is by understanding what it is that they want for their employees. And so targeting early career professionals, what I found in working myself is that you don't know what you don't know. And whether you are college educated or whether you have a certification, every company has its own culture. Every company has a mission set. Every company has some product or service where they want to be known for. They want to be top of mind. And when you have different personalities showing up, hoping to be their best selves, you have the responsibility to harness the talent, harness the personalities, and get everybody seeing the same vision. It's not easy. And so because I've worked for 20 plus years, because I've been a knucklehead, because I've been a stellar employee and I've hired and I've interviewed and I am curious and I am a leader, I can actually help your workforce grow beyond even what you expect of them so that they can see more for themselves. And when you have an employee that is invested in learning more about themselves, it's a win for you as well all day.
I love what you just said. I've been a stellar employee.
I have. I am.
I can't tell you how much I love that, because many of us feel that we're not good enough. We sometimes feel like we're an imposter in our job. So when you can come forward and say that, and I can say it myself, in the jobs that I know I've always done the best job possible. I know it. And it's not egotistical. It's not, you're not full of yourself. They call it pride. I take pride. And it sounds like you do too.
I do. And it doesn't mean I'm perfect. Impossible.
Oh, sure. No.
Being stellar means that I operate towards excellence at every turn and at every moment. And I don't always get there, but I keep trying. I keep at it. That makes me stellar in my book.
Hey, I have a business, and I do lots of different things. And I always say to everybody I work with, we don't make mistakes. We don't make mistakes. Of course we do, but it means we'll make less. We kind of think that way.
When we learn from them, we make less mistakes.
Well, yes, but it's going to happen. But try
absolutely. That's part of the journey. That is part of the journey. I don't know how we learn if we don't fall, fail, make mistakes. I don't know how we get to the next point of clarity if we don't.
You can't, and same way where you can't be happy unless you know what sadness is.
You'll appreciate it a lot more, won't you?
Yeah. And same thing with making mistakes, because you can't grow unless you make those mistakes. So let's take a look. Let's put the microscope on that situation of a business, and you're going to support this business and empower the employees who are involved in STEM occupations. How does that look? How does that work? Can you walk us through that a little bit?
I absolutely can. I started Feet Planet LLC as a motivational speaker, as a keynote speaker to enlighten and really encourage and inspire people once they hear me to actually say, I can do it. She's not perfect. I can do it. So I started to be an example to folks of not how to do it perfectly, but just how to do it. And so what it looks like is that I offer workshops, I offer mentoring, but I like to niche it down to topics that move the STEM space forward, particularly for our Black, Indigenous people of color, and particularly for our females and girls in STEM, because there's a deficit. Let's be clear, there's a gap. You don't have to believe me, just Google it. You can look the numbers up for yourself. And so what that looks like for me and for the organization is you want to have a conversation about optimizing your talent, either in projects or in critical thinking. And basically, I come in and I work with your employees. We have conversations. I offer skills assessments as well, so that you can understand what it is that you're good at and kind of what you are interested in as it aligns with the company mission. And so those are some of the programs that I offer. I also offer how to promote yourself, right? The brand. Who are you? What's your soundbite? That's where we talk about those soft skills that I told you already. I'm not familiar. I'm not liking that term, but it's basically your character. This isn't earth-shattering stuff that I'm talking about, but because I've gone through the process and I've been that person and someone has walked me through it, I can then help you see how you show up, because you could be that smart, that bright, that innovative person at your company, but how are you showing up? Are you not engaging? Are you not coming to work on time? Are you just phoning it in? Like, how are your standards of excellence? How does that look when it's actually time to deliver? Do you understand what your roles and responsibilities are? Are you waiting for somebody to just show up and assign you work? Or are you being proactive and looking at the landscape of your company, your employees, your leadership, and anticipating what the needs might be? Because our young people have the innate ability to be able to understand and read the room far better than us older folks. Are you capitalizing on that opportunity, not just for yourself, but for your employer? Because it's a win-win for both of you, right? And so I help folks, businesses, understand how to get the most out of their people, and then I help their people see how they can get the most from their innate gifting through their company and personally as well.
I want to focus for just a moment on what you said, that younger people have a better ability of reading a room than older folks. Mm-hmm. Explain. I want to know.
So what I mean by that is, if you've been around certain older people in your life, not everybody has had this experience, but you've heard people say, oh, the kid knows. Kids are innocent, right? The younger audience, I believe, has an innocent, oftentimes not jaded. And so when you walk into an organization after you haven't necessarily worked, you've been in school, you've gotten the chops, or you've had your certifications, you're coming in with a new lens. You're eager, hopefully. You're also ready to learn. You are literally on the precipice, on the cusp of, tell me what I need to do so I can show up. A new employee, especially those in the younger community, I'm going to throw out millennials, but even younger than that, I think have an ability to be able to see what those of us who have been there and done that, those of us who this is always how I've done it. How many times have you heard that? They see it with new eyes and new opportunities because of where we are in this day and age, the age of electronics and technology. They're used to seeing things first and then being able to dissect them. So the very difference between that age gap from my generation of not having social media and having to literally be present to experience those things, they're seeing them firsthand and then having to make decisions, critical thinking about it. And to me, that allows them to come into a company and instantly, day one, day five, see whether or not, oh, okay, I see what their values are. I see it. I hear it. They're able to discern to me in a way that is different. The reason why I don't think that is a popular notion is because we assume that they need to shut up and listen, as opposed to actually taking the time to hear what our early career professionals have to say. There's growth there, but by and large, I think that they come in ready to change the atmosphere in a way that has been different in the last 20 years or so.
Could definitely see it. It's a certain freshness that
Yes.
they have, and nothing wrong with older folks, but sometimes you just, like you said, you're stuck in your ways, or a lot of people are phoning it in too, just an autopilot. Like just, they're at a certain point. Maybe they're not looking to grow and excel, where somebody younger is like, yeah, let me go. I'm moving. I'm ready to soar. So that curiosity, that freshness is there. Yeah.
They're hungry. They're hungry.
Yeah.
And we're not feeding them.
Hungry is a great word.
Yeah, they're hungry.
In the time we have left, how do we work with you, Karrin? How does the whole process work?
Well, first and foremost, I am accessible via email and phone. I have a website which literally talks about what Feet Planet is, how it was founded, why it was founded. I'm a very transparent person. So what I encourage you to do is reach out to me via email. First of all, go to my website. All of my social media links are there. Look me up. Look at my posts. Look at who I am. I don't mind putting myself out there so that you know that I am real. I didn't just show up 5 years ago and say, I've got a couple of degrees. I think I can do this. I have been passionate about helping students, helping early career professionals my entire career. So please go visit www.feetplantedllc.com. That is my website. I have a services tab. You can see what I offer. And then if you're interested in having me come speak, having me come work with your students, your school, your organization, all you have to do is send me an email on my homepage and let me know what you're interested in. And I definitely will get back to you.
You're a breath of fresh air. You really are in all of this. And there's, even as a parent, I don't even know where to turn in terms of STEM. Yeah, guidance counselor and such, but you walk the walk and talk the talk. You've been there, you've done it. Final question, talking about technology, what would you say is the greatest technological advancement in the last 15, 20 years? What do you think it is?
In the last 15, 20 years, oh my goodness, I would definitely say cyber. I would definitely say I can open my door with my phone. There's so many things at our fingertips. That ability to put information and data on the cloud and be able to access it and send signals and just really be able to operationalize how you live based on the technology that you can hold within your hand. And cyber is at the root of that.
Yeah. And I think back, I had a conversation with somebody recently. I guess it was a picture of a floppy disk. And when you think even 20 years ago, yeah, we were using CDs, DVDs to put content on, but even disc, 5 years even before that,
Yeah,
that it was, 1.4 meg. And what we have now in terms of storage, this,
unbelievable.
it's smaller than your thumb, 64 gig. And that's been around for many years. It's exciting. Yeah, STEM is definitely exciting.
Nothing to be afraid of, folks. So for those parents out there that are not familiar, all you got to do is Google. Your best bet would be to find a teenager and have them sit down and teach you. They know all about it.
And so do you. Karrin, thank you so much for being with us. Lots to talk about. As I would love to break down the different STEM categories and see how that looks through your eyes. Maybe next time we get together.
Definitely. I look forward to it.
Same here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.